Knock knock. Who's there? Cahn Solo. Cahn Solo who? Cahn Solo podcast. Episode 3. This is the third episode. My name is Sam, and this is my co-host Stu. He's the bear that doesn't talk at all, so I'm basically by myself, but that's okay. That's why I called it Cahn Solo podcast, because Cahn Solo, all by myself. No help at all. What a week. What a week. I thought I was dying 4 or 5 days ago, and I'm glad that I didn't, because then who would be doing this podcast? Let me make sure that I'm 6 inches away from this microphone. I gotta make sure. I think I'm 6 to 9 inches. And that's about right. So yeah, I thought I was dying. I got really sick. I still am kind of sick, if you couldn't tell by my voice. I don't know what happened. I got this fever out of nowhere. It was actually, I think it was the night that I posted episode 2, which was last Saturday. It was supposed to be on Friday, but I cannot edit in time, and I can't figure out what I'm doing still. So everything's going to be a little delayed for a little while. Whew. This episode is probably going to be really choppy because I'm going to be coughing a lot and drinking water. So if I apologize if like mid-sentence I sound totally different than the last sentence, but that's what's happening. It's really crazy how it happened because I rarely get sick. I used to get sick all the time when I was like a teenager in high school, but now I'm fine. Like I never get sick. I can't remember the last time I had a cold. But this was a full-on fever. It went up to 103 degrees. And it was fast. Like, I ran on Saturday night at like 7. I was fine. I ran like a mile and a half, and I got back home, and I ate, and no fever, no cough, no nothing. And I just kind of woke up sick. I was like drenched in sweat, and I couldn't stop shaking. And I was like, no, I don't have a fever. I'm okay. Like, there's no way that I got sick this fast. But, I mean, it was obvious I had a fever. Like, what else could that have been? So I got up and I checked my temperature, and it was like 102.8. It's like, all right, I'll try it again. 102.7. Surely it must be faulty. Maybe the battery is low. Try it again. 102.9. I was like, all right, well, I have a fever then, so that's cool. And I tried to go back to bed, and it wasn't happening. And then I was like, well, maybe I have COVID. That could be it. But like, what am I going to do if I have COVID? You're going to do the same thing if you have a fever or whatever. Like, you're just going to take it easy. And like, I got my booster, I got my shots and everything. Like, what more can I do? Just ride it out. Unfortunately for me, I'm kind of a hypochondriac. Is that the word? Where you think that you're sick, even though you're not really. So I'm kind of that a little bit. So I was like, I'm Googling everything. I'm like, whoa, what happens if I have a fever? And I had a fever, but I was like, all right, well, what if it gets up to 103? And then that was when I was seeing all the articles like, go to a hospital like now because you're dying. Something is shutting down in your body and you are going to die. But I was like, well, no, because I'm okay. And I'm not going to die. Like, why would I die? But then I was like laying in bed and I kept thinking like, well, what if this is like how you think right before you die? And I'm about to die. And like when I die, everyone's going to find out that I was thinking about going to the hospital, but I didn't because I thought I was going to be okay. What I just explained, that's like the definition of a hypochondriac. So I'm living the name right there. And I got to the dramatic stage. I was like, do I text my mom? Do I text my family? And I'm like, hey, I love you guys. If anything happens, I'm really not feeling too good right now. And like, I didn't throw up. I didn't have diarrhea or anything. I just had a really bad fever. So it's been a fun ride the past couple of days. I think I'm done. I still kind of get cold. I'm wearing my Freddy Krueger sweater, which is probably not going to do well with the green screen. I just realized because of the green. But maybe it's a good enough shade of green, like a dark enough that it's not going to mess up the fancy green screen. I don't know what the background is going to be, so maybe I'll make it work to my advantage. But here we are. We're recording episode 3. Stu was like, hey, Sam, maybe you should take it easy and just not worry about it. But I was like, no, because we have people that are waiting for us to drop this episode. We have a couple of subscribers on YouTube, I think. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay, yeah, we have 2 subscribers. They're waiting for us. The first episode we got 4 views, and last week's episode was one view. So that's good. Someone's listening. So whoever's listening or watching, thank you, sir or madam or bear. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Sorry about that. Had a little coughing spell, so my sentence got interrupted. But anyway, what we decided to do today is we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. I actually had quite a few ideas that I wanted to play with today, but being sick and then just being overwhelmed with the ideas, I was like, well, maybe that'll be better for like a YouTube video, like even though this is YouTube technically, my other channel where I'm actually like doing stuff instead of just talking into the microphone and not having any real concrete direction what I'm going to do or say, which is part of the fun of this podcast, I think. Now, if you're curious what my initial thought is about artificial intelligence, it's bad. It's not a good thing. I don't like it. I think it's creepy and not good. Just it won't end well. Have you seen Terminator 1, 2, 3, Genesis, Dark Fate, all of them? Have you seen what happens? I don't think that AI is going to be cool enough to do that, to like become self-aware and destroy us all. That would be kind of cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be used in just really bad ways, like manipulating other people, which we've already kind of been doing with it, and becoming less thoughtful. Like just putting any thought into anything, because these artificial intelligence like programs or whatever, they're doing some full-on crazy shit. And I did some testing myself, and I was weirded out at how it just generated all this stuff. Like I went into it's called the playground, but it's like a little chat box or whatever, and you can tell it anything and give it all these different prompts, like tell me what the best name for an ice cream store is, but make sure that it has like a color mentioned in it. But it needs to be something that like you can just do all these little manipulations to it and it'll spit out this pretty precise thing that you can tweak. And it just gets so specific and it looks like a person came up with the idea, and it's just really creepy. So anyway, today is December 8th, which is the day that John Lennon was murdered in 1980. And I was like, I'll put something about John Lennon. And I asked it, I was like, what would John Lennon be doing if he was alive today? And it came up with like 8 sentences, like John Lennon would be touring the world or whatever, and an advocate for peace or what, like, yeah, and that's what he was doing while he was alive. But it was doing some other things that was like what he would be doing today. And I was impressed, but I was also like, I fucking don't like this. It's unfortunate because of how interesting it is, and I want to learn more, and other people want to learn more, especially the people that are developing these programs. So we're just going to keep diving further and further into this, and that's going to be where we find this is not a good thing, because we're going to keep going and there's not like an end to it. Like, we're not going to get to a certain point with artificial intelligence where like, yeah, that's maxed out. It's just going to keep getting weirder and weirder to where people are going to be wanting to talk to their dead relatives or something, which I hear is already a thing. Like, you could put on a VR set and talk to like your relative. It takes like clips of them talking or whatever, like video, and it kind of gets an idea like, okay, they died when they were 14, so they're not going to talk like they were 25. And I don't like that. And people are, can I say this, Stu? People are stupid. Like, the general population of people are stupid. And if you don't believe me, go watch like deep fake videos. And if you don't know what deep fake is, it's like AI. I guess it's CGI basically. But I've seen like videos on Facebook of someone deep faking, I guess you would call it a deep fake of Tom Cruise, and he like does a backflip over Barack Obama. And people watch it and they're like, whoa, my God, that's crazy. And it's like, that didn't fucking happen. He didn't do that. Like, you can tell it's not him. But if you're just like the average person who's like just not thinking, it looks real. And that's why it's scary, because you can do so much bad stuff with that, and people will. We're going to pull up some TikToks there was a Keanu Reeves deep fake. There's a whole channel and it has millions of followers, and it's this guy with Keanu Reeves's face, and he's doing shit in his apartment, and people love it. And a lot of people think it is really him, and I can't figure out why they think that, because Keanu Reeves is not doing this stuff. All right, Unreal Keanu. It's in his name, so that gives it away, so that's good. But his top videos have 118 million views, 72 million, 55 million. All right, so he's in his apartment in his pajamas, and he's acting out scenes from some of his most famous movies. But you go to the comments and they're like, oh my God, I love you, Keanu. Oh my God, so handsome. I love all your movies, Keanu. You're so great. Oh, I can't believe you have a TikTok. And if you watch the videos, you can see in his eyes, it's like something is off, and it's not a real person. Here we go. Life with a girlfriend. When a girl comes into your life and he's lowering the toilet seat. Oh, he's pouring milk into a glass and not drinking it out of the thing. Okay. Oh, he's throwing away the tea bag instead of just throwing it on the... Oh, it's all these things that men should do if they have a female in their life. And I don't understand why people can't figure this out, that it's not him. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, it's deep fake. Oh, this is funny. Ha ha ha. But there's also a lot of people that are like, wait, is this really you? Is this really you, Keanu? I can't tell. And that's the problem right there. That's the problem that I have, is because we don't need to be tricking people anymore, because so many people are tricked. And this isn't some kind of conspiracy theory like, yeah, you guys are like, you're all asleep, like you got to be thinking. It's just tricking people, because you're using something that looks so real, presenting it as real, and then people believe it. Like, if I showed this to my mom and didn't, like, if I was just like, hey mom, check it out, Keanu Reeves is on TikTok, and I showed her the video, she's 70, so she might just at first glance be like, oh wow, oh, that's kind of funny. And then all of a sudden, it spreads like wildfire, you know? My mom posts it on her Facebook, and then all her friends from high school, they repost it. And before you know it, everyone thinks that Keanu Reeves is on TikTok. And then he posts a video of him doing something, I don't know, political. And then it's like, oh, I didn't know Keanu Reeves was a left winger or a right winger or whatever. And then you have problems. I think the thing that is most telling about why it's like just never gonna get us right is because of the interpretations of like body parts and skin color. Because if you've seen any of your friends' posts on Instagram or whatever, where they uploaded pictures of themselves and it spit out like AI art, you'll notice it's off. It's off. Like I think the hands, like there's always like 8 fingers and they're like all like gnarled and everything, and like the AI just can't figure that out for some reason. And like some of them will have like a third arm like coming out of your shoulder blade or whatever. And I guess it's kind of comforting to know that it can't really replicate us, which it's good, because you can tell like, oh, okay, that clearly wasn't a person that did that. That was AI, which is, again, that's kind of comforting to know that it will never be able to like fully get us. And I've seen a lot of artists that are against it for obvious reasons, because it takes away from, I shouldn't say it's taking away from like hiring them as an artist, but it takes away from, it almost makes it look like what they do isn't that great, because it's like, well, if I could just put my picture into this AI thing and say, I want to look like a gladiator, it can do that instead of paying you $150, $200 to do a commission of the same thing. Like, I only spent $8 to do it, and I'm happy with it. But you don't get to tweak it. You don't get to really, like, you know, all the little details. And like I said, you could have an extra arm growing out of your ear, or your 9 fingers on one hand. And I mean, that's what you're gonna get with the AI. It's not gonna be anything that another person could do. I won't say better, but it's not going to have that connection that you would have with an actual artist or a photographer or whatever it may be. There's an Instagram account, Ben Mornin, and he's doing this toddler series, which I really don't like for a number of reasons, but he basically takes like a TV show, Breaking Bad, Big Bang Theory, Wednesday, Stranger Things. He takes the cast and he makes them into toddlers. And they're just really creepy, but they're all AI. He had no involvement with this, like, creatively. He just put it through a program and it spit out all these AI like portraits. And I get that they're fun to look at, but eventually he's gonna get enough followers and he's gonna start getting people asking if they can buy his prints, and he's gonna do that. And then what's gonna happen? People are gonna see that you can make money doing this, and they're gonna start selling their own AI generated things that they do. And it's just going to become a crypto. It's just going to be this circus where everyone's trying to get you to do this thing they don't know what it is, but we're just going to keep doing it. And I want to make a whole bunch of money off of this. And just what are we doing? So going back to what I did earlier on the playground, the AI playground, I write an episode of Breaking Bad. I didn't say anything else. I typed in those 6 words, and this is what it generated. The episode begins with Walter White and Jesse Pinkman driving away from the scene of a botched drug deal. As they speed away, Walter looks in the rearview mirror and sees police lights flashing in the distance. Walter turns to Jesse and tells him to pull over. The two quickly exit the car and begin to flee on foot. Walter runs ahead of Jesse, looking back to make sure that they aren't being followed. The two arrive at an abandoned warehouse and duck inside, hoping to lay low. Jesse takes a moment to catch his breath, and Walter takes a moment to think. He knows they have to find a way out of this mess. Suddenly, Walter has an idea. He tells Jesse they need to create a distraction to draw the cops away from the warehouse. Jesse agrees, and the two set to work. They quickly gather materials lying around the warehouse, including some chemicals and a few pieces of scrap metal. Walter begins to construct a makeshift bomb using the materials they have on hand. Jesse helps him build the bomb, and when it is finished, Walter sets it off from a safe distance. The bomb explodes, creating a huge distraction and drawing the attention of the police away from the warehouse. It ends with. I think you can... So there's a whole bunch of like little settings you can do, and I think that it cuts off at a certain character limit, and I don't think that I set it high enough, but it would have kept going. It would have just kept taking this one step further. And for me, the whole thing that is just creepy is that it sounds like it's coherent. Like everything that I said makes sense. But when you know it was AI that did it, then it starts to sound like, well, it didn't really go, like they just kind of were doing stuff, and like nothing got... It didn't have the creative mind of a person where you're like, ooh, there's going to be a twist and turn. It was just like, they are building a bomb to distract the cops. Jesse is scared. Walter is concerned. Like, it takes what it already knows and it kind of just builds on that. Which is cool, it can do that, but also, no thank you, I don't like it. So after that one, I wanted to try something funnier, so I did a episode of Seinfeld. Same thing. Write an episode of Seinfeld. That's all I put into it. And this one was interesting because it actually has scenes. Like it has a scene and then where the place is and then a little description of what's happening. Anyway, episode 1, The Big Switch. That's what the episode is called. Like it titled it. Episode 1, The Big Switch. Scene 1, Jerry's apartment. Jerry and Kramer are talking about their latest plan to make money, switching apartment keys with their neighbors. Kramer has been researching the idea and believes it can be profitable. Jerry is skeptical, but agrees to give it a try. Scene 2. George's apartment. George has been invited over to his neighbor's apartment for dinner. He is excited about the prospect of eating a home-cooked meal and quickly agrees. Scene 3. Neighbor's apartment. When George arrives at his neighbor's apartment, he is surprised to find that it looks exactly like his own. It turns out that Jerry and Kramer have already switched the keys, and George has been unknowingly eating in his own apartment. Scene 4. Jerry's apartment. Jerry and Kramer are excited to hear the news that their plan worked and they have already made money. They start to plan their next scheme when they hear a knock at the door. It's George, who has just figured out what happened and is furious. And then the last one is Scene 5, Street. George confronts Jerry and Kramer about their scheme and insists that they switch. And then it ends. I think I did the same thing where I didn't put enough characters or whatever to keep going. Now, when you first listen to that, it sounded like it made sense. But if you think about it, it didn't. Like the switching of the keys or whatever. Because, like, as a human, you think like, wait, why would George go to his neighbor's apartment and, like, have the key and open his own apartment? Like, why would the neighbor give him her key, her house key? Like, that doesn't make sense. And the whole thing is the AI knew that this is what the show is about. It's about, like, mix-ups and everything and mishaps and oops, oh, this is, whoa, we got to do this thing or this will happen. Oh, no, this happened. And they got it, but at the same time, they didn't. And that's just so crazy that all I did, I just write an episode of Seinfeld, and it kind of did. It captured the Seinfeld essence. But there it is. That's AI. I don't know why it, like, I mean, I know it was a thing for quite a while, but it feels like this week it has just exploded. And I don't know if somebody launched this program or programs, but this is a big deal because somebody like me can just go on and do that very easily, and I'm sure that somebody is going to use that for bad, really bad. I mean, you know, you see people that are being true crimed and they take the phone of their victim and they text like it was them, and this is the type of thing that is going to be an aid to those kinds of situations, which is no bueno. All it takes is a really bad person with a lot of time on their hands to go onto somebody's profile and get an idea of what they're into and what they like and how they talk and whatever. And then all you got to do is type that in, text mom about going to Disneyland with Erica and Billy for Erica's birthday, and we have a cake of her favorite basketball team, the Lakers, and like you could put in so much stuff and it'll come up with a response that is like that person. And that's, like I said, it's not good. And yeah, it'll also be used in good ways, like connecting with a relative that you maybe didn't get to say goodbye to or whatever. And I get that people would be tempted to want to do that, but like, I lost my dad suddenly, and I think if somebody was like, hey, Sam, you want to talk to your dad one more time? I would think about it, but I don't think I'd want to do that because, like, it ain't him. And why would I want to think that it was if it wasn't? But when you're going off emotions, of course you're going to want that. And I hope that people don't look at this AI thing and let their emotions take over that. Okay, I think we've gone on long enough. Do you have anything you want to say, Stu? No? All right. Well, thank you to the person who watched our last couple of videos. I hope that you enjoy this one as well. All right, I'm going to go edit this and cut out the coughs and uhs and ums and everything and anything else that I look stupid doing. And then we will see you next week, right, Stu? Yes, wave bye. Okay, we love you. Bye.